Yep.
All right. So we are live. Let's zoom in on our faces. How are you, Robin, today?
Because very well, thank you. How are you?
Uh, And we have a very special guest on the pod today or tonight, wherever you are from. Robin, he is the co-founder of Foo Events. Is that the name of the company, or there is another name for the company?
The company itself is actually called Grenade.
Ah, right.
Probably 12 years ago, we started as an agency, so that was our agency holding company. But since then, we launched, Foo Events and Foo Sales. So I'd say those are primarily how we know, and very few people actually know Grenade as the brand in the WordPress space outside of, old agency. Reputation. But Foo is generally how we refer to ourselves, because it's a
Right.
little simpler for both
Right.
brands.
It happens to, I think, a lot of companies. Their brand name becomes the company name, which they are known for.
Yeah,
And Grenade is a good name. I'll give you that. But I
yeah.
think Foo Events is much better. And Foo
Thanks.
X, right? Foo anything. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
we talked about it when we met for the first time. I think we met during WordCamp Europe only, right? Or Asia. I
Yeah,
don't
in
remember
person.
last
I,
year
I think
in
no
person. Yeah.
Europe. Yeah, a year ago actually, almost to the week.
Right, right, right. That was one of the awesomest experience we've ever had in a conference.
Yeah, it's
And
very good.
you guys have been like supporters of InstaWP, kind of early adopters of InstaWP back, I guess, 18 months, 24 months ago.
Yeah,
So really thankful for that and for
of
sticking
course. No,
around. I think
very happy customer.
we have come a long way. So, Robin, again, welcome to the pod. And today we have a bunch of people around from around the world joining us on the pod. And I would request everybody to just say hi, tell us where you're from on the comment section so that we know you are there. I know I can see that there are a few people online already, about 25 plus, and we'll just wait for 1 more minute. In the meantime, if people can say hi to us, that will be awesome. I think somebody has already said before we even started, Lugine, if I'm not in pronouncing your name incorrectly. So, hi, Holger from Switzerland. Um, Moin, is that your name? Um, hey, Fawad from Germany. JP, Norway. I think this time around we get a lot of European um, members and some from US. It's the time is, I think, is good for that part of the world. And
Yeah, for
obviously
sure.
there is recording available if somebody misses this. We have Iraklis from Greece, Tracy. It's a long name. ServiceNow solution architect. Oh, nice, very nice. Nice to see you, Tracy, from the all the way from Washington. Kenneth from Philippines. Olga, no, Moin is hello. Okay, sorry. Okay, Moin. Paul is from Phoenix. I think Robin, you can also see these comments, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. Amazing to see all the different countries where everyone comes from.
Nice, JB. Thank you. Hey, Sujaidi from Malaysia. All right. So I think it's a good time to start. We have a lot of people joining in. And hello to everybody. Thanks for your time today. So um, let's get started. Robin, can you
Sure.
tell us a little bit about the background of Foo Events? Um,
Yeah, for sure.
so take us a little bit, kind of a brief history of how did Foo Events happen, and what was the motivation behind it?
Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, we started off as an agency 12 years ago, and one of our clients, a well-known social media company here in South Africa, needed to do a conference. And of course,
Mhm.
as one of our customers, they asked us to develop a system, or source a system rather, that would allow them to sell tickets and manage check-ins for the events. So, that was probably about 10 years ago when they approached us for this, and we looked at all the available options. And this is a common story in WordPress. It happens a lot. We looked at the available options, and nothing ticked those boxes. The way they worked wasn't in line with our philosophy around WordPress. We like it to be very integrated, very simple. It should actually just feel like WordPress itself and not an add-on system. And then the structure of the data we also struggled a bit with, because it was very much creating a separate event and then kind of hacking that together with WooCommerce to be able to sell tickets. And quite frankly, we just didn't like it. And as an agency, we didn't feel comfortable employing that as a solution for our customers. So we built a small plugin with the basic premise that it adds events and ticketing functionality to a WooCommerce product. It was super, super simple, a very straightforward approach. And we rolled it out for the clients. I think they had a few hundred attendees at the event, and it worked really well. And this was a very, very basic early version of Foo Events. It was very simple. It just allowed you to sell a ticket. And it worked extremely well, and our customer was very happy with it. And, we, as a business, we took a little bit of a knock because we were paid essentially to source a plugin to do this. We couldn't find one, so we had to build our own solution. So it cost us a little, and we thought, well, let's kind of try cover the cost of that development a little and try and sell it. So we put it on Envato, and it took off like a wildfire. People loved it. It worked really well. So we started investing 1 day a week, extending it and trying to push it further. And that slowly snowballed. And, needless to say, in a few very short years, our entire business pivoted 100% to Foo Events, and we stopped doing agency work. Over time, we stopped taking on new customers, and eventually we had no agency customers left. And long story short, 9 years, almost to the day. Next week, Thursday, is our 9-year birthday. 9 years later, Foo Events now powers thousands and thousands of events and has helped people sell many, many millions of tickets. So it came from our own personal needs, which is the best place a product can come from.
Right.
And I think it just resonates with everyone in terms of its simplicity in the way it integrates with WooCommerce and allows WooCommerce to do a lot of the heavy lifting, while Foo Events, fills in all the gaps that you need to sell tickets for your events and manage attendees. And it's also one of the beauties of it is that because it's a WooCommerce extension, your themes work perfectly as long as they work with WooCommerce. And all these third-party extensions that you're used to using for sales, like coupon plugins, etc., they all just natively do work with Foo Events, allowing you to leverage them for yourself. So it's a good fit for most people, and it covers a lot of use cases. So it's not such a short story, actually. That was quite long, but that's how Foo Events came to be.
That's helpful,
where it is
actually.
now.
I see agencies very, very often who are looking to pivot into a more recurring revenue based business. One of the things which we generally advise is a WAS, website as a service. But obviously,
Yeah.
opening up a plugin shop or a theme shop is a very cool segue from agency to, as you said, it's one of the natural ones.
Yeah.
Quick question on some of the points, like let's say I'm an agency and this is there's a requirement, right? So a couple of questions on
Yeah.
that. How do I decide that should I build this from scratch, right? First. Secondly, agencies generally don't have developer resources, generally speaking, who can actually code and program good quality plugins. So how do you
Yeah.
tackle these things, right?
Yeah. Well, if you don't have developers, then you're most likely going to need to find a solution like Foo Events, and that'll come down to researching and trying different solutions. If you do have developers in-house, again, the first place you start is looking if there's an off-the-shelf option that's viable and in line with your not only your needs, but also your approach to WordPress and how you like to use it. So that's the first step. If you need something extremely bespoke, you're most likely going to need to build it, by yourself. But again, products like Foo Events are designed to not be too opinionated in certain areas, so that you can kind of mold it into a solution that works best for you. And I think that's one of the strong points about it. We have a philosophy at Foo Events whenever we approach a feature or a new plugin, is that we try and keep it super simple, but what we do implement needs to cater for the majority and not pigeonhole them because of the small 20% of requirements that would push that pigeonhole. So we generally say it should be 20% as complex, but should make 80% of everyone happy and fulfill their needs. And that means there's 20% of people where Foo Events isn't a good fit. But by doing this allows us to keep it really simple and cater to a large amount of people. I think that's for us, that's the right balance to strive for. So at the end of the day, it depends on what you're building, what resources you have available, and how you can leverage existing solutions or not. And that ultimately would determine your strategy.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. And I have also run a plugin company, or kind of already I have a plugin company, so I can second that opinion. Personally, I never ran a proper agency before starting a plugin company. I'm always a product person. So changing your mindset from an agency owner to a product owner, right? Does it matter? Does the act involve a lot of change, or is it like uphill battle, or it can come naturally when you work with clients, right? Because you already handling requirements, and plugin is kind of like a ready-made off the shelf software instead of a custom made. You always have been doing it anyway, right?
Yeah, for us, I almost feel like it's a superpower if you come from an agency background, because we were servicing some of the largest brands in Africa. We're a South African-based company in Cape Town, and we were used to providing a level of service and a level of quality for that level of customer, and that translates very well into our products and into our support and how we work with our customers. So, if you've never done that type of work, you might not be accustomed to the expectations and the standards that you need to provide your customers with. And we just try to take that and it's a little difficult when you have thousands of customers versus maybe 100. But in terms of the resources that we've implemented, the workflows that we've implemented, I think coming from an agency background allows you to look at it from a different perspective. And to be honest, like if a customer is not happy, for me personally, it feels like that's a Fortune 500 company paying us a large sum of money, whether they just bought a single plugin or the whole suite, doesn't matter. It feels like a very critical customer to us. So and it is. And that's just because of it's been ingrained as an agency in the past. Because before Grenade, we were also I've worked in agencies since I finished studying, so it's very much entrenched in how we approach the business. So I think on a customer service level, it's a superpower, and then just from a product and a quality perspective, again, it's something that helps you approach it slightly differently to perhaps a freelancer that's started off very young, building a plugin and had success, where they kind of skipped around that avenue. Not to say that they don't do great plugins as well. Like 100% do. It's just a different experience and background. So
Definitely,
way to get there.
I think being an agency owner gives you that superpower of understanding clients and servicing each and single one of them. We're talking about the plugin itself, Foo Events, right? Means what is the plugin? Means, can you give a little bit of brief of if I install that plugin, and what does it allow me to create, or what can I create something for my clients?
Yeah. So we have a number of extensions, but they all start off with the main plugin, which is called Foo Events for WooCommerce. That's our core plugin, which adds most of the functionality needed to be able to sell a ticket through WooCommerce with Foo Events. The other extensions add additional features that not everyone needs. So the reason we split it up like this is for two reasons. One is to reduce the cost of our main plugin. So instead of bundling all the functionality into this one super big plugin that would cost quite a bit in terms of how much we've invested in it, we can sell it at a lower price, and then you can choose the individual extensions you need. We also offer bundles, which reduce the cost even further. And then the second is the bloat. So, one of my pet hates are large plugins and themes that throw everything in the kitchen sink into them. It makes it very difficult to manage, especially when you only require a small percentage of that functionality. So with ours,
Definitely.
the core functionality, the ability to add events and ticketing to a WooCommerce product, sell those tickets, check them in using our free Foo Events Chickens apps, which are available on iOS and Android. That's all included in our core plugin. And then the extensions add additional features like the ability to add custom attendee fields, to attach a PDF version of the ticket to the HTML email. The multi-day plugin, which if your event's say a music festival that runs over 5 days, and every day you need to check that attendee in separately to manage access to the event, the multi-day plugin adds that additional feature. We also have a bookings extension, which you wouldn't need if you say selling concert tickets, whereas the booking extension works great if you sell access to a tourist bus ride, and every day there's multiple sessions, multiple options that they can book. So it all depends on your requirements and
Right.
what you need, and by splitting them up into extensions just makes it affordable and easier to manage.
I guess, yeah. And the free version do you have a free version, by the way?
No, we don't have a free version. We have the core
Yeah,
plugin,
so the
which you can
core
buy on its own,
version,
or the
okay.
bundles.
And how much does the core version cost by itself?
The by
Just for a
itself
single
is
site, right? Just for a reference, because my
I just
next
want to make
question is actually
yeah.
going to compare your plugin price with, let's say, SaaS base, because event is an area where a lot of SaaS companies exist where we can do a similar setup. So how does
Okay.
that differ from it, and how does your plugin differ from other plugins? I think one of the biggest advantage which you have said is the simplicity and the integrated nature of the plugin itself. No bloat, right? So
For
that's
sure. Yeah,
already given.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so the main core Foo Events plugin is $69 every 12 months. It's an annual subscription,
Okay.
which if you compare to SaaS event and ticketing solutions, obviously super low. And then the iOS and Android apps are free to use with
So
Foo Events.
that comes down to about $6, or like exactly $5.75 per month, and that
100%.
doesn't
Yeah.
restrict any, like, how many events you can create, right? How many
Unlimited
attendees you can.
events, unlimited
Okay.
tickets, no commissions, no ticket fees. It's a bargain. Like it's a
So
really
you can
good
connect your own Stripe account or PayPal account or whatever,
100%.
right?
Yeah. So
And
you use
okay,
WooCommerce to do the actual sales. So you'd use whatever payment gateways you use with WooCommerce in your area, and they do charge a processing fee, but Foo Events itself, the only charge is the annual license subscription for the plugin.
got it. All right. So without further ado, right, let's jump
Okay.
right into the demo of
Okay.
the plugin itself. I think a lot of people have been waiting. We have now over 50 people watching this stream
Awesome.
live. And hey, everybody. So we forgot to say hi to a couple of folks, Jean Rene and Maxim from Paris. Welcome. Hey, Lincoln. All right. So, Robin, are you going to share the
Yep.
screen? All right.
Yep.
While Robin is setting that up, who in this chat is coming to WordCamp Europe next week? Can we get a show of hands? And then I will add the screen sharing to the stage and say, hey, Sergio, welcome. All right. So while they are commenting about that, let's get started, Robin.
Okay.
What do you have going on in here? May I ask?
This is InstaWP. You may be familiar with it. Just on a side
Hey.
note, I do also have my InstaWP water bottle. So I'm
Oh,
full on
nice.
InstaWP
This
supporter
time we
today.
are going to have another swag. All right, nice.
Okay,
Thanks for sharing
fantastic.
that. And
Fantastic.
okay, I may know about this company though. Okay.
You may know a thing or two.
Yeah.
I do actually have slides as well.
Okay. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah,
Let me
let's
see
get them.
if I can load those up quickly. It's just, do you need to queue up the slide?
No, you can do that. I think. Okay, sorry. So
I'm
I
not
just
sure.
need to add into the stage. Yeah.
Okay.
1 second.
Sorry.
Yeah, done. Go ahead.
Okay, so the title is How to Build an Event Website in 10 Minutes. So now, of course, the last thing you would want to do is actually build a site and deploy it in 10 minutes. But what we are going to do is show you how to add the events and ticketing functionality to a WordPress site within a 10-minute period. So that's essentially our goal, is to create an events and ticketing site. But I'm not going to go through the whole process from the start, installing WordPress, installing WooCommerce, adding a theme, and creating a couple of pages. I think most of us here are WordPress people, so I'd probably bore you if I had to go through every step. But for the
Right, yeah.
record, the site took around 10 minutes to set up using InstaWP and the built-in option to install Foo Events. And then I just customized it, customized the Astra theme. I imported one of their demos and I changed the logo and colors and some of the pictures. So it was really straightforward, nothing new over there. It's pretty much something most WordPress people would be comfortable with. So here's just a quick recap. Created a WordPress site, set up WooCommerce, created a couple of pages, published a physical product, just an example for reference. And then I also installed a SMTP plugin. And the reason I did this is because we're sending tickets via email. So you want to make sure that it gets delivered. And the easiest way to do that, because Foo Events leverages the WordPress mail function, is to just install a standard WordPress SMTP plugin. Your tickets will then be used whatever you implement as your SMTP protocol. So in this case, I actually use the Gmail account to send emails using SMTP. So
Yeah, I
super
think there are
straightforward.
like very nice free plugins available for that. And generally,
Yeah.
WordPress is notorious for not sending emails to the
Yes.
inbox. So yeah, better
Yeah.
to just set it up. Yeah.
I mean, WordPress, I think, does a decent job. It comes down to the servers as well.
Exactly.
Email's a complicated beast. So installing a SMTP plugin will allow you to send an authenticated mail, increase the likelihood that it goes through. So always a good idea. That's I'd say almost standard with any site. So now this is what we're going to do: is we're going to create a 3-day conference event for which we're going to sell tickets. And those tickets are going to be branded HTML tickets that get sent to the attendee, as well as a PDF version of the ticket that's going to be attached. And the PDF's nice because they can download it and print it, and it's a little bit easier than printing an HTML email, a little bit neater. We're also going to capture the T-shirt size. This is just to show you how to create a custom attendee field. And for an event like this, you might want to give them a free T-shirt. And it's exactly like the WordCamps. If you go to WordCamp Europe last year, you'd have to specify a T-shirt size, and you'd get a free one. So you'd use the custom attendee fields to do that. We're then also going to be able to sell the tickets in person. So you sell your tickets online, but then on the day of your event, let's say it's a concert or a show, you might need to sell tickets as well. We have a great solution for that, which I'm going to show you. And then the next logical step is people arrive at your event, you're going to want to check them in. And we've got 2 tools to do that, and I'll give you a quick rundown of those. And then, of course, you want to be able to view some reports. So you want to see our sales data. We want to see our check-ins, how many people have actually arrived at the event, something you'd want to monitor. And then we want to look at how to export the data. So this part, I'm going to try and do all of this in 10 minutes. I do speak quite a bit, so we're probably going to go over the 10 minutes. But more or less, we should have a working event site once we've gone through all of that. And then right at the end, we've got a nice little treat for everyone, a little announcement, but we'll save that for the end. Can we go back to sharing my screen, please?
Sure.
And then we'll get started.
Yep, there you go.
Okay. So before we started, I went to InstaWP. I created a new site called woot.foorocks.com. So I'm going to load that up. I'll quickly show you what we have. So we have like the baseline, and then we'll start adding the Foo Events functionality to it. So it's a standard WordPress site. It has WooCommerce installed. It uses the Astra theme with one of their demos. It's their outdoor event demo. And all I did was change the colors, uploaded a few of my own images. These are just stock event images, and changed the logo. And I added the My Account section to the menu. It's just handy to have, and a link to the store as well. we have set up a WooCommerce product where people can buy a t-shirt. So, a lot of events you might sell drinks, food, t-shirts, merchandise. So this is just to illustrate how those two fit together. So let's get started on the Foo Events side of it. So I've already uploaded the plugins, but I haven't activated them. So the first plugin we're going to use is called the Foo Events for WooCommerce plugin. So this is the core plugin. It's going to add most of the functionality we need. When you activate it, you'll get redirected to the Getting Started page. And this is just an overview of where to start. So this is the global settings. It's like the main Foo Event settings where you can set some of the defaults. A button that'll take you to create your first event. A couple of links to different parts of the tickets. We haven't got any tickets set up yet, so you wouldn't jump to those just yet. This just tells you about the apps. They're free, so regardless of what type of event you have, go and get the app, try it out. It's quite cool, and it's a nice tool to have just to view the attendee information on hand, regardless of the type of event you have. And then at the bottom here, it shows you what extensions are available and what you have that are currently active. So I think let's just install. We're not going to use all of them, but just for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to activate all these plugins. It'll take a second.
And
again,
all of these require your main core plugin, and that in turn requires WooCommerce, just to be
exactly. Yeah. So Foo Events is an add-on for WooCommerce, and then these are all extensions for Foo Events. They don't work by themselves. They just add pieces of functionality to Foo Events, depending on what your requirements are. So, okay. So now we're going to create our first product. I have a Word doc here where I've just copied a bunch of information, so we don't have to type everything out from scratch. So I'm going to jump between the two just to speed things up. So we're going to call ours Foo Conf, and I'm just going to quickly paste in the information that we need. So all I'm doing now is completing the standard WooCommerce product fields. So we'll do all of the standard stuff first, and then we'll jump into the Foo Events functionality. So this is an event. I'm going to create a category called events. And if you have multiple events, you could then just go to the category on the front end for events and see all of them in one place. I'm not going to worry about tags for now. We're going to create a variable product. And the reason we're going to do that is we're going to have two different types of tickets. We're going to have the standard, which is just going to be for your normal attendees. We're going to call it.
This is an event ticket product itself, right?
No, that's exactly. It's a standard WooCommerce product. So you don't change the type of product, which means if you have a subscription that you want to include a ticket with, you can do that. If you want to do it with a variable or a simple product, you can do it.
So it doesn't matter what kind of product it is. It can be attached and converted to an event ticket, right? Or an event.
100%, yeah. Okay. So some of our customers, every time a subscription renewals, they send out a confirmation email in the form of a ticket. It gives them another year of access to whatever their
kind of a membership or whatever, right?
Exactly. And by doing it this way, some plugins do actually have an event type product, but that excludes them from using simple products, variable products, or subscription products. So it's a little
that's the kind of simplicity we want, right?
Exactly. It opens up doors and it makes it a lot simpler to integrate with other plugins because it's now inherent rather than having to do a custom integration with all the different plugins. So we're going to create a standard and a micro sponsor. The micro sponsor, we're just going to charge more and they're going to get some perks with that. So this is all standard WooCommerce. This is just normal attributes and variations. If you haven't used variations before, loads of resources. You just go search for WooCommerce variations and you'll get loads of resources around how to use them to create different types of options. They're often used for like t-shirt colors and t-shirt sizes for your normal retail style products. So over here, we're going to create them as downloadable, virtual, and we're going to manage stock. We're going to charge $50 for the standard ticket.
And is this a requirement, making it downloadable, virtual, and
stock? So it is actually. So when you sell a ticket, the ticket will only be generated when WooCommerce completes the order. And the reason is, for virtual ticket, the order is automatically completed when payment is made. For physical product that requires delivery, it's changed to processing. So it wouldn't automatically create the ticket at that point. So if you if you set your product as downloadable and virtual, when the customer pays for it, it'll automatically complete the order, which will trigger Foo Events to generate the ticket. You can change which order status you want to use to generate the ticket, which I'm going to show you once we've completed the product information over here. But the default is on complete. So yeah, just set it to downloadable virtual for digital products, the safest bet. So we're going to do 500 tickets at the description. And then I'm just going to copy and paste the description.
For the micro sponsor as well.
Yeah, this is for the micro sponsor. So yeah, we're going to charge $500. Yep. Yeah, they're going to get, in our make-believe scenario, they're going to get a logo at the entrance. They're going to get inclusion in social media and the inclusion in the event newsletter. So it's a nice way. You could also just have like a standard ticket, a VIP ticket where they get access to other areas. Maybe you offer workshops. You could have a standard, and then you can have a standard plus workshops, and you charge more for that. So you can use variations, just have different types of tickets. You could even have like a pensioner discount option, or bring your kids, or a lunch option. It's really up to your use case. So we're going to save those. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward so far. Now we're going to head into the event functionality. So you'll see an event settings tab at the bottom over here. So as it is right now, if we had to save and publish this, it would just be a standard WooCommerce product. So I'm actually going to do that just to illustrate. So I'm publishing it, and then we're going to view it on the front end, and more or less, it's just going to look like a WooCommerce product. Any standard WooCommerce product. You've got additional information.
So if I check out right now, there will be no event functionality, which there'll be no planned, but I can still sell a downloadable product, which is like a static PDF or something, right?
So some of our customers, this is actually how they did it originally. They just sell a virtual product. But the problem then is you need to get a list of attendees for your event. So you need to extract that from your order information.
Unique attendees, right?
Unique attendees. So you could have 3 people, if you were buying 3 tickets in one shot, so perhaps you're buying it for your team, you're now not going to capture information for each of those individual attendees. They're not each going to receive a ticket. There will be no ticket. And then when these people arrive at your conference, you're going to have to do it manually outside of WordPress.
Right.
You're going to have to import, somehow get the information out, put it in a spreadsheet, and it becomes very cumbersome.
Export it, put in a Google Sheet or whatever, right?
Yeah. It becomes laborsome and prone to mistakes, human error. So what we're going to do instead is try and integrate some of that functionality, so it's kind of effortless, and you don't have to manually extract information.
Makes a lot of sense.
So let's enable the event functionality. So here we have different event types. We have a single day event. So that's if it's a once-off event, happens on a single day. The sequential days and specific days are multi-day options. So sequential days says how many days does it span over, and what day does it start and what day does it finish. Then the specific days, you can actually specify the dates of the 3 specific days. So this is ideal if they're not consecutive days. It might be your conference is on a Wednesday, Thursday, and there's something going on Saturday. So you skip the Friday. So you need to specify 3 dates that aren't necessarily sequential. This is a good way to do it. So I think we'll use this option, just gives us the most granular control. We then, of course, also have a bookable option, which allows you to create booking slots. So you could have like a 3 p.m. slot and a 6 p.m. slot, and you can have them over different days over the month. But we're not going to look at that today. We're just going to do more of a conference.
But can I use that? Can I use that option to build an appointment-based system as well, or
absolutely.
Is not a function? Okay.
Yeah, great. It's meant, it's looked at from a event perspective. So it's not something you would use for a consulting business, in that people would be purchasing access to that booking slot. They wouldn't just be reserving it and paying afterwards. So you'd use it. A very good use case is like a ferry. So you want to book a ferry from the mainland to an island. You would choose the time and date that you want to use the ferry, and you'd book it for a group of people. Go through checkout, and it would send you a ticket for your booking that you can take when you get to the ferry. They scan
Right.
it and they allow
It's an
you on board.
event, right? So something
It's
has to. Okay.
yeah, it's
Not like
essentially
a
like
dentist
micro
appointment, right?
events.
It's not
No,
going to be like
not
okay.
exactly. It's for an activity, a bookable activity or service where you pay upfront for that booking. So,
Got it.
it could be a venue that you want to go to and you have to pay upfront.
Otherwise,
and you can
with dentist
slot.
appointment and all, then calendar will come into play, and all of that
Yeah,
reservations will come into play, right? So this is very
yeah,
specific to ticketing, and obviously ticketing goes
exactly.
a long way in a different scenarios. Okay, please
Yeah,
proceed.
yeah. There's like different levels of events. There's big events, and then there's like micro, small events but I mean, essentially they're still an event. It requires access, and you got to have some kind of proof that you've purchased access to that micro event. Okay, so we're gonna just add a few days over here. So these are the days that the event will be that'll span over, and each of these days you'll be able to check the attendee in separately. So you can check them in for day 1, you can check them in for day 2, and you can check them in separately for day 3. So in a conference scenario, you might use this at registration, where you want to ensure that that person is a paying guest. And then we'll quickly set times. I like this option particularly if you have different start and end times each day, because it allows you to set it on a individual day.
Very nice.
Start nice and early on the last day and end late. Okay, venue details. So this is mostly just meta that we're going to complete now. It's just information about the event that'll display
Right.
on the tickets and on the product page. I think we've gone way over the 10-minute mark. Sorry, do you have a habit of talking
we are
too much?
going a little bit a kind of a Q&A session in between as well. So
Okay, cool. So
just for the
I'll
time
edit the
check,
video
we
down to
can
10 minutes.
yeah, we can just do, I think, 5 to 7 more minutes, or
Okay, no, we're almost done. The Google Coordinates would add a map. We're going to skip that. Just add a number. We're going to skip the thank you message. That's just a message that will be displayed on the thank you page. Yeah. The event details tab, you can add additional text to that. We're going to choose a color, go with the brand color. So this is the blue I used on the front end. Okay, we're going to leave that as white. And yeah, you can choose which default fields you want to include. So we're going to capture the attendee's name, email address, phone number, and let's say company name. We don't need to include details on the order email just yet. Okay, now we're going to skip to the ticket settings, where you can choose which ticket theme you'd like to use. We've got a catalog of different ticket themes that you can choose from. These are the ones that are bundled. It's my favorite one as well. It's bundled, and it is the default, but in my opinion, it's the coolest one. And then we're going to set a logo and image. We're going to again set an accent color, a button color, and we're going to make the text white. We're going to add a custom subject. So we're going to call it FooConf Ticket Confirmation. You can also, we have a number of fields you can add here to bring in dynamic data as well.
Dynamic field.
Yeah. We're going to email the tickets. We're going to email the ticket to the attendee rather than the purchaser. By default, it'll go to the billing email address, but we want to go to, we want this to send to the individual attendees. This is cool if you're buying for like a group of people and you want everyone to receive the individual tickets.
Very nice.
This will allow you to do that. Display custom attendee details on the ticket. Why not? We're going to do a reminder. We're going to leave that in. We're not going to add any custom text, and we're going to display the price of the ticket and the multi-day details. We're not going to add any customizations to the PDF. It's just going to pretty much be a PDF version of the ticket that we're going to see. The event terminology, this just overrides. If you call your attendees students, you can just easily change it over here. So custom attendee fields, we're going to capture their t-shirt size. So we're going to choose a select box.
Nice.
I'm going to go small. medium, large, extra
Basically
large.
separated by a pipeline.
Yeah,
Pipe.
by a pipe, correct. And let's get the Twitter handle. We'll just add that as text. Like, we support most of the input fields that you'd expect, including email, URL, and validation for those types. We don't need to export anything. We're not going to use a stationary builder, but I'd like to just mention it. It allows you to generate a PDF that you can print for stationery, so like badges, tickets, certificates, anything like that. It'll print it for each individual attendee. So this is really great to use after your events if you want to print additional stationery, or if you want to print tickets ahead of the time and hand them to your attendees. We're not going to bother expiring the event, or I suppose we can. Let's just set it for the 30th. It means it will no longer be available to purchase after that time, and you can set a custom message. We're not going to get to see that, so I'm just going to skip over it. Of course, we integrate with Zoom, so you can create virtual webinars and meetings people can purchase access to, but haven't configured the API for that. And then you don't need to set anything for the POS. That's our point of sale system, which we'll take a very quick look at. Okay, so sorry, I rushed through that a bit because I could spend 20 minutes explaining details on each item, but let's get to the front and see if the proof is in the pudding. And we've published. Okay, so yeah, we have our ticket purchase page.
Same page,
product
right?
page.
It looks the same. Yeah.
Only difference on this side is that it has event details over here. If we did the map, you'd see interactive Google Maps showing you where the item is over there, but we skipped over that. The real magic happens when you actually purchase this and it generates a ticket. So let's go and add a standard item to cart. Yeah, we're going to go through your standard WooCommerce checkout process. The only difference is because we're capturing attendee details, you'll see at the bottom here, we have a form where you can capture the attendee details. But there's a little trick that I'd like to do before we do this. And there's one or two settings I'd like to actually tweak just for a better experience. So if we go back to the back end and we go to settings, there's a handful of settings I like to customize with when setting up an event. So one is I want to change the add to cart text to book ticket. So we've already gone past the product page, but that's what you'd see. And then one of my favorite little options is this one over here, just because it's a little bit easier. And I'll show you now what that does. And then we're going to go to the ticket design. So by default, it'll create barcodes for the tickets. I'm rather going to use QR codes. So I'm going to change that there. QR codes scan easier. It's a lot more accurate and a lot faster. So we prefer to use those in general. And I think that's probably good enough for now. So let's refresh this page and you'll see a new little option over here. So if you select this, it'll copy the details from the purchaser. So it means I don't have to fill it out twice. So that's why I like that option. There's also an option to do it automatically. But
everybody likes these smart options, definitely.
Yeah, it's like being lazy is a superpower. If you find smart ways of getting around doing mundane things and being more efficient, I'm all for it. And that's a great way to skip typing out a lot of things. Okay, so we've entered attendee details. If we had 10 attendees, it would show attendee 1, attendee 2, attendee 3, and you'd complete these details for each of the attendees. And then because this is a demo site, I don't have an actual payment gateway connected, but you can connect PayPal, Stripe, or whatever payment gateways are available in your area.
It's a standard WooCommerce setup. So
standard WooCommerce,
you can actually connect your local payment gateways and whatever, right? Right.
Yeah, any payment gateway, because we don't actually integrate directly with the payment gateway. We look at the order status and how it changes.
That's the beauty of it, right? That's the beauty of
exactly.
On top of WooCommerce.
So there's very little that can go wrong from our side as long as the order status changes to completed. Free Events will generate a ticket. You can, though, just while we have the screen open, you can actually choose which order statuses you want to use to generate the ticket. So it's currently on completed, but you can change that as needed. So now if we go to WooCommerce orders, you'll see the order over here has been generated and completed. And if we take a look at it and scroll down, you'll see it shows you ticket information. So this is all the information we captured. There's a unique QR code that was generated for it. And let's just click through straight to the ticket. You'll see the ticket over here. So you can now modify this ticket as needed, and you can set the check-in status over here for each of the individual tickets. And when you do change the status, it'll add it to a log here, which is pretty handy because it makes it possible to track. And you can also view the ticket information in the My Account section. If we go over here.
So this is for the end user.
This is for the end user, yeah. It's just this is another place where they'll be able to see their ticket information. And of course, they can download it as a PDF ticket. And then if we go to the email, did use this email. So I've received the standard WooCommerce order emails, and then I received the actual ticket. So this is the ticket we set up and configured. And it has, because this is Gmail, it's adding the meta from the ICS file over here.
Nice.
Automatically. This is the logo and image we selected. This is the event.
I must say the email template looks really, really nice.
Thanks, Joe. This is my favorite one. It's just clean and simple. Oh, you know what I did forget to do is in the Foo Event settings, I forgot to enable the option to include the PDF ticket in the email. So it would normally attach it over here. I'll probably have an example.
That's fine. You can resume it. Yep.
So you can see this is an example of something similar. And it's pretty much the same. It's just a print-friendly version, and also you can build your own ticket themes. They're very simple HTML templates, and they're very easy to modify and use whatever HTML you want. So we have tutorials on how to create your own ticket themes. Makes it really straightforward. Okay, so now we've created an event by adding event ticketing functionality to a WooCommerce product. And we made it possible to purchase one of these tickets through the front end, and that sends the attendee a ticket, which can be managed on your side in the ticket section. And the next step is you want to sell tickets in person at the event. To do that, all you need to do is go to the Foo Events POS tab. This will open the Foo Events point of sale system, which is essentially a point of sale view of your WooCommerce store. So you can sell your products, you can sell your events.
I can essentially sell any WooCommerce product, right?
Any WooCommerce product. So it's built for retail and events. So you can sell merchandise, you can sell food at the event. You can obviously sell tickets. So we'll complete this one quickly.
This is so cool.
Yeah, nice. This is a game changer for a lot of events because it means you have one omni-channel system that allows you to sell both online and in person at your event. So you don't have multiple systems and you're trying to collate everything. It's one seamless integrated system that works online, in person, as well as with the check-ins app. So the ticket I create here is going to be created in your WooCommerce store, and at the door, someone will be able to check that ticket straight away if you want it, or you can set the POS to automatically check it in if needed. So yeah, we're going to just enter some details. So you can set if you want Foo Events POS to work differently than the online events. So you can make these fields optional. You can hide them all together.
Okay.
I just left it as default. So I'll just quickly set them, and then we don't have to jump back and forth. And okay. Nice. Go next, and here's the payment option. So we support split payments. We actually launched that fairly recently. Let's just say this is a cash ticket. You can assign it to an existing customer. So we'll add it to admin. I can't remember the name I used. You can select an existing WordPress user. You can edit the attendees' details, and then you can go through the checkout process. We integrate with Stripe and Square card readers, so you can connect those to the POS and use them seamlessly, or you can use any third-party card reader and just select it as your own custom payment type or specify it as a card payment, and then you hit submit. So now we're going to connect to, oops, okay. Curse of the demo. We're going so well. When you hit submit, what it would do, and I tested this earlier on a copy of the site. But anyway, it'll generate the ticket and it will send it. It'll save it in your WooCommerce store and it'll allow you to check it in at the event, just like you would with an online ticket. You'll also be able to view the orders over here. So
Nice.
that's now we've covered all the sales, and then the last thing you would need to do is manage check-ins. So there's two ways you can do that through the Express Check-ins interface. How are we doing on time? Are we
We are a little bit over the time, not a little bit.
okay?
So we have maybe 2 minutes to just explain the
Okay.
check-in process. Yeah.
So the one option is the Express Check-ins option. With this, you can connect a barcode scanner, either wired or Bluetooth one, depending on your device, and you can scan the tickets, and it'll find them and display them over here. And you can set it to auto check-in, or you can hit that blue button and check them in that way, or you can use the Foo Events app, which I actually have loaded. Let's see if it pulls. See if the details connect. There we go. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I've logged in, and I'll just hold it still for a
Yeah.
second. You'll
We
be
can
able to
see
see
it.
the tickets listed there, and you can use the built-in camera to scan the tickets and check them in, and it'll connect to your
So
site
the app
and
is
change
for
the
the
status.
admin or for the end user? It's for the admin,
It's
right?
for the admin. It's for the people that would be managing access to the event. So if there's a long queue and you want to get those people into your events as fast as possible, the check-ins app allows you to just scan their tickets. As soon as it finds it, you can set it to auto check-in. It'll connect to your WooCommerce store, change the status of the ticket to checked in, and they'll then be able to enter your event. So it's one of our favorite features. Like our customers love it. It works extremely well. It's been used on events that have sold hundreds of thousands of tickets and have actually managed those check-ins for hundreds of thousands of people over a day or two period. It's normally for like a festival. And it's a lot of people to check in, and this app performs phenomenally well. We've optimized it over many years now, so it works really well for managing check-ins from small to large events. And then the last bit, just quickly, I'll just skim over this, is the analytics. So because you're selling tickets with WooCommerce, it means you can use the WooCommerce built-in order analytics. The only extra bit that you'll see is you can choose if you want to see all orders, online orders, or Foo Events POS orders only. So if you want to see separate
Nice.
reports for how many orders came through the POS, you can do that over here, or you can filter it to see all or online only. And then if you need to see reports on your check-ins, so on the day of the event, you want to see how many people have been checked in and how many people you're still waiting for, you'll be able to view all of that information over here.
This
So
is
obviously we
so
haven't
good.
we've only checked in one there. So, but yeah, you'll be able to monitor and get a solid understanding of, who's arrived.
This
And
is very
also,
well made, Robin.
thank you. And then the last but not least, you can obviously also export all your attendee information. You just go to the event. There's an export option that you saw perhaps earlier. You can export all of it as a CSV, and you can import that into your favorite spreadsheet software, and you can run any formulas you need to extract information about the attendees there. And then I wanted to talk more about integrations as well, because we've got quite a few very cool integrations with systems like AutomateWoo for automating SMS tickets and follow-up emails and reminders. But you can head to our site, and there's loads of information about that there. So I think
I'm sure we can do another follow-up on that. But in the meantime, I have one question on the chat.
Yeah.
So JP
Okay.
Steen asks that is this type of WooCommerce setup works with the booking part of your plugin too?
Yeah, absolutely. It works exactly the same. We can actually quickly.
I think we did talk about it, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
That's the
We'll
booking part.
quickly modify that product and make it a bookable one, just as an example.
While Robin does that, if you guys have any other question, feel free to post that into the chat window. We are almost at the end, and we are opening up it for Q&A session. So feel free to post your questions.
So here I'm creating two booking options, a morning slot and an evening slot. I'm going to save those changes. And then on the event settings, when you've selected a bookable option, it's going to now show you these additional options over here, where you can kind of configure how it gets displayed. So I want to display date first. There's going to be the drop down where you choose the date. I want it to be first the date and then the slot. And I want to display that on both the product page and the checkout page. We don't need to hide any of these options for this scenario. Show availability, sure. show out of stock booking dates. No, leave that as is. Oh, and let's set some stock for those items as well. Okay, so now we need to add dates. So we're going to say this morning slot's going to run from today till the end of the month on let's make it Friday and Saturday. So this is just a booking wizard so that you don't have to create these individually. And let's say there's 15 slots for each of those. So now it's just going to generate all of the dates that you'd like to have the morning slot available on. And then let's say for the evening slot, we're going to do the same dates, but let's make it only on the Sunday and the Saturday. So this gives you complete granular control of your booking slots and times. So a lot of other systems work on more like rule-based, and I've used them in the past and we struggled a lot. And our customers really needed complete granular control of what day and what slots they're able to create. So we went with a slightly different approach here, where you literally can create all those slots just using this wizard. So let's create these. Oh, created for the wrong one. That's fine. So let's add it here rather. I'll tell you what you do. There's a nice little trick actually that I quite like.
Duplicate.
Is this, you just duplicate it and you can get the exact same ones, and all you need to then do is go afternoon, and change the time, and you're done. So probably the easiest option. So now we have a morning slot and an afternoon slot. I'm going to save those changes. We also changed the event type, so we should probably save the whole product actually. And now everything else is going to work pretty much exactly the same. You'd still go through the same checkout process. You go to the product page, so you can choose a standard ticket, and now you can choose the date and time that they'll attend. So instead of just being a fixed date and they have no control over that, you can say this specific date, June the 14th, and I want to go to the afternoon slot, and you can book the ticket for that. So say two of those. And then you go through the same process. So you'll see here, it tells you the date and slot for this booking. Proceed. And you'll get the same information over here. I'm just gonna enter garbage here just so we save some time. So obviously a developer writing the test could have chosen better. And then when you place the order, it's going to create the ticket. The only difference is the ticket's going to have additional meta that it's a bookable ticket, not just a standard conference single day ticket. So if you go to the email, it should come through as well. Go. You'll see it now. We still had that info there. Okay. Let's have a look at over here. Okay, there's a little bug in this release. But yeah, you should see the date and time over here. Let's check if it's there as well. See, the demos run too long. Now I'm running into the curse of the demo.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll see it has the slot and date, which is also included in the tickets that you'll receive. I think
there is a big question which we have. I don't know if you want to handle it right now, but JP's team, I encourage you to reach out to Robin directly. Or Robin, can you look at the? I'm just going to remove your screen sharing from the stage.
Okay.
And move us back into. So this is the question is a little bit longer. So it's a motorhome parking spot that can be reserved any time of the day. A check-in and check-out time as well as an extra option for attributes like I think shower and washroom or something, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And my customer want to choose the parking spot on their own during the reservation. Some customer prefers spot 12, some 6. We are using the other booking plugin today. Can you do that as well?
JP, it might be possible. It all depends on how we could set up the various options for the booking and how their stock needs to be managed. So if the shower options don't require stock management, then it could be fairly straightforward. It would be similar to the if you go to foodevents.com and go to our demo site, so demo.foodevents.com, and look for a demo for a party venue booking. It might be similar to that, where you can choose additional options for booking. If those individual options have their own stock management requirements, so there might be limited availability of showers, for example, then it could be a little bit tricky. But I think go to our demo site and have a look for the party venue booking demo, and also get in touch with our team. Go to help.foodevents.com/contact and just pop in a pre-sale question. And our team's very good at helping break down different use cases and whether something's possible, and they'll definitely be able to help you and figure out if there's a solution for you.
Awesome. If anybody has any other question, otherwise I would like to move into the last bit of the presentation, which is asking Robin, since you have developed this on the InstaWP staging environment, obviously
Yes.
there is an option to move this site and make it live. Now that
Yeah.
we have InstaWP live as a hosting product,
For sure, yeah.
with the interest of time, we will not go into the entire journey, but I would like Robin to just go to the tab again and show us where that option is. So this is your staging environment tab. So you are on the staging side. Yeah, exactly. So click on go live.
So I've never actually done this. Like, we use InstaWP all day, every day for our support, for our demo sites, for testing, for development. But I've never actually deployed a live site. So I'm very curious how this actually works.
Right. So just choose the first option, which is obviously pre-selected. So
Okay.
go to the next tab. And here you will be asked for which plan do you want to get into. And we start from $18 a month all the way up to 45. And then we have custom plans as well if you have a more requirement for CPU or disk.
Okay.
The biggest thing which we offer compared to other providers is that every resource is per site, not per account. So 2 CPU per site, 25 GB per
Okay.
site, 400,000 visitors per site. And obviously there is CDN, WAF, and daily backups and hourly backups for database built in. And if you go beyond 10, so if you open up the pricing calculator, you will be able to see that if you slide that slider all the way to 10 plus, you will see the price changing from 18 to all the way to 9, right? So 50%. And agencies generally host more than 10 sites with us. We have hundreds of customers doing that already, and we launched it recently. So yeah, so click on so let the light plan be selected. Go to the next step.
Okay. Should I leave it on 10 plus?
Yeah, that's just a calculator. So it will
Okay.
it will charge you $18. And then you choose a data center. So we have 4, 3 in US and 1 in the Europe. And then choose a PHP version and then enter a domain name, right? So just let's say demo or whatever, right?
Is that okay?
Yeah, so that's available. Yeah, go to the next step. And here you can install a plugin if you wanted to on top of your site. And I think in one of these categories, Foo events will be available, I believe, or not.
Yeah. We are right over there. This actually is just for everyone's benefit. This launched today, so I'm very happy to see it. Yeah.
So yeah, so we are partnered with Foo Events for one-click launch. And just since it is already there in the source site, we don't need to install it again. So click on Go Live.
Okay.
And it's just asking for a confirmation. Click Continue. The beauty of InstaWP Live is that even if so let's say you launched it today and you deleted it, let's say only today. So you will be charged only for one single day. So that is 18 divided by 30 and about like 60 cents, right? So
yeah, I was going to ask you, you're tricking me into buying a new product. Yeah.
Before you did that,
was this the ploy?
Took care of
you
it,
just
right?
bought a house, Robin.
Boom, $1 million deducted from a credit card, right? So
oh no.
Yeah, so we are going live.
So
we will do the migration for you. So we are migrating from the staging environment all the way to the live environment, which is completely different setup. It's a different set of like infrastructure and everything. So we copy over the files and database, do a search replace, and all of that for you. And it might take about, like, depending upon the size of the website. So we are going to
Yeah,
leave
because we're
that for
deploying
the
to live now, so I'd imagine it'd take
yeah.
a few minutes.
And the beauty of InstaWP is that both sites will be connected now. So whenever you want to,
Okay.
when you make changes to the staging side, you can push the changes
Right.
to the live side using two-way
Yeah.
sync, which we have developed.
Okay.
So, but thanks for showing us that. There is one more question from Fawad. How easy is it to migrate from another event management plugin to Foo Events? The current plugin is also based on WooCommerce, but the events manager is not done by WooCommerce. So let me just remove this
Okay.
screen and go back to our original screen.
So, okay.
Is that
So
like a manual process or?
we do have it is a manual process. We don't have any importers built specifically for competitor sites, but we do have an importer for tickets. So if you can extract your tickets from your current service provider, you can import them and link them to an existing product and orders. So it is possible. We obviously get it quite a lot, and all you'll need to do is export the relevant information as a CSV file, and then with our importer you can import it and you can map the data to the relevant Foo Events data fields, run the import, and then all your past tickets will be there. So it is, it depends on the system you're using and how they work and how it functions. It's not always a perfect fit, and you might need to smooth things over here and there, but it is possible. Definitely worth looking at. So the best, it actually brings maybe to my next point, which is the announcement. The best way to find out is to try it, and we've now partnered with InstaWP, and you can now get Foo
Again,
Events for
just to be
free
sure,
with
so this is not a
InstaWP.
free plugin. Sorry for interrupting you. This is not a free plugin, and you are giving it for free to
This
try
is
out
not a free
on
plugin.
InstaWP,
Yeah,
right? So you go to your InstaWP
not just
dashboard,
try
click
out.
on.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the offer then? I'm
So
just getting too much excited.
So we added more. So the main Foo Events plugin, Foo Events for WooCommerce, costs $69 and can only be purchased through FooEvents.com previously. So we've partnered with InstaWP. You can create a site with InstaWP and you can get the Foo Events plugin installed. And then you can get a free copy of a Foo Events license for that plugin, which means you're not only trying it out on InstaWP, but you'll actually get access to updates and support for 12 months using a coupon, where you just purchase the plugin using the coupon, get 100% discount, and you get a standard Foo Events
100%.
license.
Did I
So
hear
you're
that? Did I
getting
hear that correctly?
100% discount. You heard that correctly. 100% discount for the main Foo Events WooCommerce plugin. So all you have to do is create an account. If you don't already have an account with InstaWP, sign up. You can get a free account even, and create a site. Add the Foo Events plugin, and on the dashboard of that site, you'll see information on how to get your free copy. It's essentially a coupon that you'll need to redeem in order to get a free copy of the Foo Events WooCommerce plugin. And of course, you can use it. You can try it out on InstaWP first if you need to. Either way, you'll be able to use Foo Events for the next 12 months.
Speaking about offers, so thanks for sharing that, first of all. So go to the InstaWP account, create a site, choose Foo Events, and you follow that. And other thing which I wanted to share is, okay, JP is going to go and create a staging site right now. Thanks, JP. Cool. And I already shared a little bit of information about the new hosting product which we have. So instant, pre-configured, very flexible. We also have burst support. So if you have spikes, especially in the case of events, right? While we are speaking about it, you may have, when you announce something on social media or wherever, you might have. So we do support that on custom plans. We are going to make them available as public plans very soon. Very competitive pricing, because this is managed WordPress hosting. This is not your vanilla shared hosting. And we have powerful features built in, which is CDN, backups, and WAF. And we also have a little bit of offer going on where we can give you $50 as live credits to try out InstaWP Live. So all you need to do is just scan this QR and submit a Google form. Sorry, Robin, go ahead.
No, I said that's fantastic. It's a great offer.
Thank you. So we are going to paste the link as well into the chat. But okay, oops, yep, we are back. So all right, I think it's time to conclude. Even though I had great fun, I think it ran longer than 10 minutes, so we cannot claim that anymore. But we can
Yeah,
obviously,
my
with the
bad.
power of with the power of edits, we can shrink it down to 10 minutes for a preview. But I would like to thank you, Robin, for being on the pod tonight. Really appreciate the end-to-end detailed walkthrough of the plugin. I think that really blew my mind as a product maker as well, because of how
Oh, thank
easy
you,
it is
Vikas.
to configure it and how easy the UI UX part of it. So I'm going to steal some of the
Thank you.
UI elements and send it over
I'd
to
be
my
honored.
team. All right, and now that you have that for making it free to test, yeah. All right.
For sure. No, thanks so much for having me on. It's been a blast. I think we could have done another 2 hours probably, just
Easily.
chatting. But yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll have
Thanks,
to do it
Robin,
again.
for
next time we'll do
very soon.
bookings.
Very soon. So, hoping to meet you again at WordCamp Europe next week, and many more
Yep,
who
I'll
attended
see
this
you
part
next week.
tonight. Don't forget to come say hi to our booth at InstaWP, and you will obviously find Robin and Colin with very
Yeah,
familiar
you'll
Pooh
see.
events.
Keep an eye out
The
for
logo.
a hat with that logo. I'm
Yeah,
6'4", so you'll see it
very hard
somewhere.
to miss.
Very
All
hard
right.
to
All
miss.
right.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. And thanks for
Okay.
your time today. And thanks again, Robin, for being on the pod.
Yep. Thank you, Vikas. Thank you, everyone.